This is going to be a very sensitive recording. Now, depending on where you are in the world, you might be able to relate more with this, or depending on how it goes. Now, there is a lot of toxicity in the air. I just want to make it clear that there is a lot on my mind to bear. I want to leave it out for us to share. A bit of thought and reason and rhyme. This time I just want to say something really quick, which is that I have run out of funny quips to make this sound any more like I have enough wit to bamboozle you with. This is my poor attempt at doing some spoken word. But what is good? My name is Ali Mohammed Tarfa, the Physical Gay, back again for another episode. It has been a while. And, wow. I'm sorry. I have to apologize. I'm sorry. I disappeared without a trace for a while from the audio space of podcasting, and I've been solely doing videos. Now, but while I do videos, to be really honest, audio podcasting has this special place in my heart because it feels like I get a lot more room to really talk to you, to really share with you my thoughts on a couple of things. Now, I'm going to call this a podcast for the averages, something like that. Let's talk about average. I just came up with the topic now off the fly, but let's get into it. So basically, picture this scenario. You're working your 9 to 5, 7 to 7, 9-11. Okay, that wasn't the best pun, sorry. But you're working your job, and at the end of the month or the end of the week, whatever time frame you work, you expect to get paid. And when you get paid, usually you're already thinking about, there are different, quotes and posts and schools of thought that, you would partition your pay into money for bills, money for things you want to buy, for sustenance for the upcoming month. And then you expect that, okay, well, whatever you're getting paid should be, ideally, enough to at least sustain the kind of life you have. And we see that maybe for around, my statistics may be a bit wonky, but about 80% of people who are listening to this podcast or who are in the world would relate to some extent to having pay that doesn't seem to take you home at the end of the day. And so you are exhausted month in, month out, day in, day out, week in, week out, because your wages, your income doesn't seem to come in quite enough, in enough quantity and quality that would sustain the life that you currently have. Even if the life that you currently have can barely be regarded as that, because, there's different kinds of hell on this earth. The kind where you are living day to day, spending majority of your day dreaming about the life that you wish you had, that you don't have. And then there are different schools of, people would come and say, well, if you don't have the life you want, it's because you didn't decide. Good. Very good. We're getting somewhere. Now, talking about average is more than just your paycheck. Talking about average is also talking about your mentality, talking about your thought process, talking about your emotional state of being, talking about if you are a subject to the bandwagon effect, which means that you are moving with the crowd and you don't really know where you stand. Now, I'm not a pastor, and I say this because I'm not a pastor. That's actually the first reason why I say it. Second reason is that as much as I'm trying to have a conversation with you, even though it seems one-sided. I hope that what I'm saying is leaving you with questions and possibly some answers. So you go through your life now. If you do an audit of your work, and this is why work is very, very important, because our work takes up a great majority of our lives. Where we work, what we do, how we do it, how it makes us feel, what we are able to give to the world as a result of it. All of these things that make us sum it up and say, okay, is it purposeful or not, is a big part of the story. Now, the average situation is that we don't work to make a life, we work to make a living or to earn a living, And it seems to me and it sounds to me like we are really working to be able to rent a life. So, okay, when we say work to earn a living, it's like earn the fact that you are actually living. Earn it. Be able to afford a life that you can call living, otherwise you're existing. So that just hits me and I'm like, wow. It is sad because we find that a lot of people are working in environments where they absolutely hate work. You're studying courses in school that you really do not like to study. You're studying in places where you really don't like your lecturers, your teachers. You don't like their faces. You don't like how they live their lives. There's nothing about them that makes you want to model anything towards that endeavor. It's like someone having, I have this friend of mine. He has a Pixel, Google Pixel. Now, I know I haven't talked about tech so much, but if you know about tech, you know about smartphone photography, you know that Google Pixels are as good as it gets when it comes to smartphone photography. The cameras, especially the computational photography, software optimization is ridiculous. If you're buying an iPhone to take pictures, it's cute, it's nice, but really, if you want to get serious, get a Pixel. Now, this guy has a Pixel. Yes, he still takes very shitty pictures, And then someone doesn't have a Pixel, spends their entire time, this someone might be me, spends their entire time imagining, if I can do this much with this camera, how much more will I do if I have a Pixel? Right? And there's all of that, potential versus reality, expectation, everything is versus, and it's a lot different. Now, we've talked about work, we've talked about earning a life, which is basically renting or just working enough so that you can afford to call your life a living. Otherwise, you are just existing. Okay. Now we'll go into relationships now. When I talk about relationships, usually we expect that it's the romantic kind. It's the kind where you meet somebody and, they make you feel butterflies or you start to fly or something, or you meet your demise. Whatever the situation may be, relationships are more than just romantic. We have platonic relationships, we have work relationships, and so on and so forth. And one of the most, will I call it now, upsetting things I realized about workspaces is that majority of the work toxicity is not the fact that you're not paid on time. It's not the fact that you're not paid enough. That's something. But majority of what makes up your quality of life in your workspace are the people you work with or work for. So it's very important that you are working in a space, you are engaged in a space where you can not only feel the fact that you are doing some purposeful work, but that you enjoy how you do that work, how you get those results, how you go about it. Do you have to be unethical to make money? Do you have to kiss ass to make money? Sorry, I said ass. Again, I'm not a pastor. Do you have to backbite? Do you have to rubbish people? Do you have to be a snitch? Do you have to be do you have to be a kind of pain in the proverbial ass to be in your workplace? Do you have to circumvent morality to stay in the game? What chunk of your soul do you have to trade for whatever so that you can arrive at some form of mediocre success? What lies do you have to tell so that you can appear like the truth? What corners do you have to cut so that you can appear like a square? You can fit in there. What is it that you are doing to jeopardize the good work of others so that you can have a leg up for a promotion, for some favor? How many asses do you have to kiss before you realize that your dysentery and aggressive diarrhea is caused from toilet seat infections that you've gotten from kissing their asses? How much do you have to drop your standard to make a living, to make a profit? How many lies do you have to tell on the job before you can actually say you've done something, you've hit a KPI, you've marked your register? How much of yourself, and all of that goes around it, because really what it comes down to is you work with people, you work for people, but really you're still working with them. You are interacting with them. And majority of the quality of your life is going to come from how you work with these people. So quality of your work comes from the average of your day-to-day conversations, work relationships. What is the energy that is being passed around? What is the average energy being passed around? Now let's go to platonic and romantic relationships. On a scale of 1 to 10, you should have, that's what they call the 5 to 10 ratio, right? In a relationship, you should have, on average, this is why it's very interesting. Now, on average, you should have a ratio of 5 good, let's call it 5 good, good situations, good emotions, good feelings about your partner to every one negative one. So for example, they annoy you because they don't text you in time, they reply very slow, it gets you annoyed, or they I don't know, do something that pisses you off. And then for each of those things that you see that it's really annoying, that really frustrates you, they really drive up your gears with that one thing, you have 5 other things you could count that they do well. And this can even spill into workplace relationships and platonic relationships, because the idea here is for every time you do something good, you should be rewarded. There should be some reward and recognition. There should be some, regard. I feel like it's very shallow and sad and frankly stupid if you only reward the negative. When I mean reward the negative is that you punish, you blame, you throw people under the bus. Your partner does 5 things right, they do only one thing out of place. Yeah, you can point it out to them, but if you make them look like a bad person, then you've lost. And on average, you are now, you're tipping the scales the other way. So basically what it should be is that for every 5 things, pick a partner, pick your family member, pick your partner in your relationship, think about one thing that they do that you don't really like. And for each of those things, you should be able to count 5 things that they do in a day. Okay, 5 things they did. They prayed for you. Okay, that's good. When I want to talk about my issues, they listened. Okay, they were there for this, they were this, that. You can count 5 and then you can say, okay, how many things did they do that weren't so good? And that could be 1. Or you have 10 to 1, 10 to 2. Basically, the ratio is 5 to 1. So 5 good emotions, 5 good feelings to 1 negative emotion. It's not possible that the rain is falling on your relationship all the time. It's always bad days, always argument, it's always walking around eggshells, because what that means is that you probably have more negative emotions to the good ones. Yes, you're still hanging around because there is some good. If there is no good, then you wouldn't be there. So same thing goes for you being in a workspace. If everything is evil, everything is bad, everything is your fault, everything is all you. If it goes on like that, what happens is that you feel more resigned to feeling negative about that experience, that place, that person, that thing. Okay? For example, you have a phone. Your phone takes good pictures, right? But the battery dies all the time. But you think, it also takes good videos. But your battery dies all the time. Okay. But while the battery is on, It's quite snappy. The phone is responsive. I can send a message. I can use it to chat. I can edit pictures. I can do this. I can do that. I can make money from it. You are counting things that make the phone good. But if you count the battery is crap, the screen is crap, the camera is crap, the speakers are crap for calls, if that is your phone right now, I don't know how you listen to this episode, but if that is your phone right now, you should change your phone. I'm just saying. But if your phone is like, okay, the battery is crap, but the screen is really nice. I like the cameras. The music playback is good. It's reasonably snappy. It's not so bad. I could just get a power bank. I could charge it more often. You figure out ways to still hold on to that thing that you love, because there is more to love than for you to despise, to hate, to blame, to accuse. Okay? Another thing about talking about averages, on average, it seems like also our mentality is something that we're not really paying attention to. It's been a while I've done this kind of episodes. I have no script, so bear with me. Just want to share some thoughts I have at the moment. I feel like someone needs to hear this. Your mentality is super important. Your mentality is super important. If you are, for example, I learned this through some personal experiences as well. You should never, for example, look at your partner if something is wrong. If you look at your partner and you feel contempt towards them, if you feel resentful towards them, you feel some form of disdain, hate, that it sounds like a strong word, but I'm getting somewhere. For example, you look at your partner, they just won money and they're celebrating. They're like, oh my God, I won money. I'm so happy. And then you look at them and then for some reason you should be happy for them. You should genuinely be happy celebrating with them, because a win for them is a win for you, right? Somehow you can't seem to shake this uneasy feeling of, look at themselves. Oh, what is it? Is it only you winning all the time? That's contempt. The moment you think, oh, why can't it be me? That's contempt. Oh, look at him. He didn't even win. He should have won more money. He didn't win enough money. That's contempt. The moment you look at your partner's win, small or big, whatever you think it is, and you try to reduce it. You see, you can't see, oh, they get a new car, and you say, and the color is not even nice. That's contempt. The moment you see that in your relationship, the moment you see that in your life, that is contempt towards you. That's contempt towards your relationship. And guess what? That is the first sign that you are going to fail. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going to try and rush this up so that I stop at the 20-minute mark. If you are at a place of work, and this happened to me some time ago, I was working somewhere, and I got to a point where I started to feel gradual resentment towards my workplace. Like, I love what I do, but I got to work one day. I looked around and I just felt, like, it was crazy because I got to work really early, like 30 minutes early, and I just sat there, got out of my car, looked at the, workplace, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. Yeah. Why? Because it's not like you've done anything to harm the process. You've not stolen anything. You've not abused anyone. You've not been, insulting anybody. But at the same time, you find yourself wanting less and less to do with the place, or feeling less and less happy for milestones achieved or whatever, because you are feeling out of it. You are out of it. Yes, there will be times that you feel out of it. You're not just feeling into that zone at that moment. But guess what? It still comes together and it still comes to play. So, if this is you, and to some extent you are struggling in your workplace, struggling with your personal life, or even struggling with yourself, if you're looking at yourself and you feel so much disdain and uncomfortable emotions towards yourself, you are already in a place where, on average, speaking about averages now, on average, you hate who you are, how you are, You are unsatisfied. You are not content with who you are, how you are, where you are, what you are. And you have to know that is not okay for you to have on average. It's good that we talk about the up moments, this moment, that moment, but you have to know. You have to know that you cannot accept the bare minimum for your average. Because your average is the more consistent trend. That's the mean. That's what we call the mean, right? If you take like 10 days and you say, okay, every day is 5, 6, this, that, and you say, okay, the mean of this is what, you add everything up and you divide it by the number of days and you try and get the mean. Like, what is the average feeling? What is the rough estimate of this is the consistent trend here. Your average is that you are less than average. Your average is that you are less than okay. Your average is that you less than love yourself. The average is that you less than love where you work. Where you spend the majority of life, you less than love it. Your average is now that you less than love your relationship. When you think about your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your children, whatever, you less than appreciate them. There is something wrong with that average. We usually think about average being a bad thing, but see, an average can mean that is the right space, that is the pocket for you to actually measure your life. Because you're not always going to hit those highs and you're not always going to be at those lows. You need to know where your average is and be able to, be ready to look at that average. And I hope and I pray that when you look at your average, it looks like something that you want to call your own. Not something that is miserable, not something that is mediocre, not something that is sad. Your life shouldn't be sad. There can be sad moments, but the average shouldn't be sad. And I'm here to tell you that you have that power. For me, I talk to God about it. I'm like, God, look, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. And if I don't like it long enough, I'm out. I'm going to change something about this. So for you, listening to this episode of the Fizzy Speaks, thank you for listening. Thank you for being awesome. But please, do not accept a shitty average. Till next time, I am Salim Mohammed Tarfa, the Fizzy Kage. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.